quiet now, please. So today we're going to go over surface area of prisms. Okay, so a prism is kind of like that rectangular 3D shape. Okay, but it could also be a triangular prism, a hexagonal prism, stuff like that. So the bases, we're focused and paying attention now, please. The bases of your prism are the parallel faces. Okay, so you have two sections that are parallel to each other that make the same shape. Okay, the lateral faces are not the bases. So those are the faces that go around, like in a circular pattern, okay, around the bases. So lateral faces intersect each other at the lateral edges, which are parallel and congruent. Okay, the lateral faces intersect the base at the base edges. Okay, so your lateral faces have a lateral edge, your bases have a base edge. Okay? The height or altitude. Okay, so it can also be called an altitude. So the height is a perpendicular segment that joins the planes of the bases. Okay, so I'm going to quick go down to the pictures here below. So in this one here, your bases are the ones that are parallel to each other. Okay, those would be these hexagons here. Okay, those are your bases of this prism. Now your lateral faces are the ones going around each base. Okay, so those distances between, around the outsides. Okay, those are the lateral faces. The height, okay, is this perpendicular segment between your two bases. Okay, so this length would be the height. Okay, it has to be perpendicular between the two bases. So now looking at prisms, okay, it is a polyhedron with two parallel congruent bases. Okay, so again, we have two bases. They are parallel and congruent to each other. Now, right prism, the lateral edges are the height or altitude, and the lateral faces are rectangles. Okay, so each of your lateral faces are going to be a rectangle. So the two sections that are not a rectangle are going to be your bases. Okay, you do have to know the difference between a lateral face and your bases. Okay, so that's with a right prism. An oblique prism, the lateral edges are not perpendicular to the bases, and at least one lateral face is not a rectangle. Okay, so in an oblique prism, your height is right here. It's on the outside of your prism. It has to be perpendicular to that base. Okay, and you'll notice here these lateral faces around your bases are more like parallelograms. They're not rectangles. Okay, but we will be working more with right prisms. Okay, so we'll be working with right prisms. All right, so lateral area, L, is the sum of the areas of the lateral faces. Okay, so again, those lateral faces are the ones that go around. So you need to find, if you're finding the lateral area, you're finding the area of all of those lateral faces and adding it together. Okay, so a net is a pattern to make the solid. So below here, we have a net for a triangular prism. Okay, so your bases are going to be those triangles. Okay, they're the ones that are parallel to each other and the same. Okay, so that would be your base. Now your net is where you expand it out and make it two-dimensional instead of three-dimensional. Okay, it's like unfolding a piece of paper. Okay, so it would be folded out. So again, these triangles are still your bases. But here, you have all three of your lateral faces. So you'd have this section, okay, this section, this section, this section, and the back section. We'll get there, relax. Okay, so drawing out that net does help you find the lateral area for a prism. So the formula that we use for lateral area is P times H. Okay, where P is the perimeter of the base. Okay, so you have to locate the base first because you have to find the perimeter of that base. Okay, then H is going to be the height of the prism. Okay, so the total height of that prism. Again, the height is the perpendicular distance between your two bases. Okay, so if I look back up at my right prism right here, okay, I labeled that height for you. It's that perpendicular distance. Now, if I was trying to find the lateral area of this prism, I would need to find the perimeter of this hexagon. Okay, so I'd have to add up all those 6 sides. Okay, that would be P, and then multiply it by the height of the prism. Okay, not the height of the hexagon. Okay, so those are 2 separate things. Does that make sense? All right. So then on the next page, that was lateral area. We also have surface area. Okay, so surface area is the sum of the lateral area and the areas of the bases. Okay, so we found out how to find lateral area. It's P times H. Okay, then we also need to add on both bases. So our formula for surface area, okay, I use this one right here, is PH plus 2B. So again, that PH right there is your lateral area. So that's adding up all of the lateral faces. Okay, then I have to add on 2 bases to get the surface area of the entire prism. Okay, so here, each letter that's represented in this formula, capital B, is the area of a base. Okay, so the area of a base of the prism. P, again, is the perimeter of the base. Okay, and H is the height of the prism. Okay, so we can find both the lateral area and the surface area. So that's what we're going to do in our examples here. So, first thing we want to do is name the prism. So when you name a prism, you name it by the bases. Okay, so it is a rectangular prism.
Go back to 3rd grade.
So here I'm going to use this side right here as the base. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to use that highlighted side as the base. So since my sides are 4 and 6, and it does form a rectangle, this would be a rectangular prism. Okay, now to find lateral area and surface area, I need to find P, H, and B. Okay, so 3 different things. So first I'm going to find P.
6
P is the perimeter of the base.
and 4. 6 and 4.
Yes. So since I highlighted this section as my base, I need to add together all 4 sides of that base. So 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4. So that's 20 feet. Okay, next I need H. H is the height of the prism. Okay, so it's the perpendicular distance between your 2 bases. Okay, and this one, that's going to be 9. Okay, it is not 6. Okay, it's not 6. 6 is part of your base shape. Okay, so that cannot be the height of your prism. So our height of our prism is 9 feet. Okay, next I'm also going to find B right away. So capital B is the area of the base. How do I find the area of this rectangle? 6 times 4. It is base times height of just the base.
So
Okay, so now that I've found P, H, and B, I can now solve for the lateral area and the surface area. So again, lateral area is P times H. So I'll take the P value that I found is 20 times our H value is 9.
Sounds like a problem.
No. It's 180 feet squared.
Pretty close.
Okay, so that is your lateral area. Now I want to find the surface area. Surface area is PH plus 2B. Now, I already found what P times H was. So I can just plug in 180 for PH. So I would have 180 plus 2 times
24.
B is 24. Okay, that is 180 plus 48. Okay, that is 228 feet squared.
Wow. Next one.
Okay, questions on number 1. All right, then number 2, this one, again, we want to first identify our base when we name our prism. So our base is going to be this triangle here. Okay, your base is always the shape that has a shape parallel to itself. Okay, so that shape that has a shape parallel to itself. Okay, so our base is a triangle. So that means this is a triangular prism. Okay, and again, I want to find P, H, and B. Well, to find P, I need the perimeter of the base. I'm missing this side right here.
Oh no.
Okay, this is a right triangle. How can I find that missing side? Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so I'm going to take 12 squared plus 12 squared is equal to x squared or c squared, doesn't matter. I am solving for that hypotenuse. So I have 144 plus 144 equals x squared. That's 288. Take the square root of both sides. Okay, and I got that side to be about 16.97.
So it would be 17.
I'm using 16.97. If you want to round to 17, you go for it.
Why can't I? Why can't we both?
Because I wrote 16.97 on my,
Copycat sheet?
yeah. So now that I have all three sides of that triangle, I can find the perimeter. Okay, and P is the perimeter of just the base. Okay, so just this triangle here. So 12 plus 12 plus 16.97.
Don't you need the 8?
What? No.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so I got 40.97 for our perimeter. Okay, next I need the height of the prism, which is what? What's the height of the prism? 8. It's not 12. Okay, you have to use that perpendicular distance between your two bases. Okay, so the height of this prism is going to be 8. Okay, last thing I need is capital B. That is the area of the base. So we need to find the area of that triangle. How do I find an area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2. Now, your height of this triangle is not 8. The height of the prism is 8. So you're looking at just this triangle to find the area of this triangle. So I need base times height divided by 2. Okay, and this is of just the triangle. Yes, just the triangle. So our base of this triangle is 12. The height of this triangle is what? 12. Again, do not plug in 8 for H in that area of the base formula. Okay, that's where I see a lot of mix-ups. Okay, when people do these problems. You're finding the area of just that triangle. Okay, and you should get 72 millimeters squared. Okay, so now that I have P, H, and B, I can find the lateral area and the surface area. Okay, so again, lateral area is P times H. So our perimeter was 40.97 times our H value is 8. Okay, that is equal to 327.76 millimeters squared. Sure. Okay, now I can find the surface area. So surface area again is PH plus 2B. And again, I already found pH, so I can plug in this 327.76 for pH. Then add 2 times our area of our base is 72. One last answer. And you should get 471.76 millimeters squared.
I'm kind of out of room.
Me too. It's fine.
Wait, can you go up a little bit? I forgot what you wrote.
Oh, some? That's what you wanted. All right, so any questions on finding lateral or surface area? Okay, again, please be careful when finding the area of the base. Do not use the height of the prism to find the area of your base. Okay, use the height of the shape of the base. Make sense?